Debbie, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Let's walk through and have everyone introduce herself, and then let's get this ball rolling.
All right. Well, it's awesome to see so many of you great friends again. My name is Debbie DeGrote. I'm the owner and founder of Excellium Coaching and Consulting, a preferred coach for the Berkshire Hathaway organization. We love it. We love the culture. I've been here, I think, 3 times or so to visit.
3 or 4. You just can't stay away from Omaha.
Can't stay away from Omaha. Can I tell you a secret? Because my office is near Newport Beach, California, the OC. So when I first was heading here to Omaha, my husband, of course, was born in Minnesota, so he's from the Midwest. I'm not. I thought, Omaha. I had my vision of Omaha. Yeah, that's not here, right? This is, especially last night when I drove up and I see the lights on the top of the building, I'm like, yeah, Vince has arrived.
Can each one of you introduce yourself? Say a little bit about, are you an individual? Are you a team? How many people do you have on your team? How many transactions did you do last year? I care about units. If you're in New York City or California and you do 3 deals for $80 million, I don't care. We're focused on I know the 3 of you do. I know you do, Gretchen. But I want to focus on what activities can we do to help you grow your business. And if that's unit focused, I think Debbie would agree with me, that's going to help you grow your business to the next level. If you happen to be in a high average sales price market, God bless you.
My name is Greg Miller. I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is southwestern Michigan, which is not a high price point market, though we have the highest price point we've ever had, and someday we'll hit 200,000, which would be a small miracle. I run a small team there. I have about 7 agents. We just hired our 3rd admin, and last year we did 300. This year we'll hit somewhere around 330 to 350 units.
Thank you.
I'm Tim Andrews.
That's Gretchen clapping back there. She's feeling guilty about her 3 unit agents. Tim, shoot away.
I'm Tim Andrews. I'm with Michigan Real Estate. I'm on a team of about, there's my family, so we're all in it, my whole family. And then there's 4 buyer's agents as well, so there's 8 of us total. This year, we're going to be on pace for around 200 units. Last year, we averaged between 180 and 220 every year. Our average sales price in our market is now up to 237.5-ish. And so, yeah, we're booming. We're very similar, I think, to the Omaha market, correct?
Our average sales price is $225.
Yeah. So very similar sized areas as well. So,
Tasha.
I'm Tasha Moss. I'm located out of this office. I have a team of 7 agents, 2 admin. We did 315 transactions last year. We're probably right on pace to do somewhere around that. And like Vince said, our average sales price is $225, so it seems pretty consistent across the board here. Not a high price point market.
How many units again?
315.
and how many agents? That's the one I meant. How many agents?
7 agents.
You guys just don't sleep.
We sleep. We're very effective, very efficient. We play hard, we work hard, and then we just keep living life, baby.
I'm Tonya Jones. I'm actually an individual, not an agent, not a team. From just south of Atlanta, Fayetteville, Georgia. My average sales price is actually up this year, around $370. Last year, I closed 127 units. On this year, I'm on track to do a bit more than that.
She doesn't sleep.
I do. I have 1.5, although she's worth a whole, but she'll only give me half of a week. So I have 1.5 admins, yeah.
Debbie, why don't you ask some questions and let's get this thing going.
Sure. So, Greg, I meet great agents all across the country, and often the average producers say to me, what makes them so great? What do they do that I don't do? What am I missing? So if there would be a secret to your success, what would that be?
Take away the production and the lead generation and those type of things set aside. And I think this goes across the board to people that produce more than average. I have very clear goals and very murky objections. I think a lot of people that don't hit their goals or succeed have very clear objections and very murky goals. And that doesn't always work out perfectly because some of my objections maybe should be more objectionable, like family time and whatnot. But I have very, very clear, specific goals, and it doesn't matter what it takes or what I need to do. I just kind of make excuses for why I don't. I make excuses for my excuses, and I just let them go away.
Greg, does that play into your work-life balance then?
My work-life balance is not perfect, but it's getting better.
Good.
It is. And I translate that into everything. Work-life balance, I'll have my set of goals, and I'll try to work that out. I have 4 kids, and I've been married 25 years, and things are going well, but they could be better. But it's certainly working in real estate, that's been a struggle.
Appreciate
So,
it.
Greg, quick question. What drives you, though? Like, what is it that when you go to bed at night and you think about the success, I guess you could say, what's the big why?
I feel like I'm in a comedy movie here. I grew up in a poor family, typical story, poor family in Michigan. Like poor not only in finances, but poor in dreams and desires and aspirations and education. And that always really pissed me off. I just hated it. I hated that I didn't have nice things. I hated that my dad fixed our house with scrap pieces of wood that, why didn't you go buy a new piece of wood? It seemed to me to be backwards. But my family, unfortunately on both sides, just never had aspirations, never had dreams, and whatever dreams they did have, probably from the Depression, both sides never recovered. So that's just completely driven me. What drives me in the industry is I just love agents. Don't particularly care for buyers and sellers.
When new agents get into the business and they tell me I love people, I say give it 60 days.
And I never really enjoyed the buyers and sellers. I can do it. Like most of you, I can sell stuff and get people to sign on the dotted lines. But I love the entrepreneurial spirit of the people coming into the business that think they're going to do something that is functionally impossible. And we know 88% of people fail and all this stuff, but they're convinced they're going to make this and do this. And I've never gotten tired of that. In fact, I like it more now than the day I started.
That's very cool. Can I ask Tim a question?
You can ask anybody a question.
All right. So, family team. That can be a lot of fun, right? So how do you guys manage to be a family, not fight, have fun time together without talking about work all the time? I mean, give them some tips. How many of you guys in here work with family? Okay, they probably need some help, so give them some ideas.
I think anybody here that is already probably pretty successful at the family thing. But so I started basically when I was 18 under my mom's umbrella, and I always kind of acquiesced to what my mom wanted and kind of just listened to her because she's very level-headed, very smart businesswoman, and I kind of learned from her and took her cue. And then 5 years after that, we added a freaking piece of dynamite, my dad, into the mix, and he just is a very opinionated, not easy, laid back, and everything has to go his way. And so we kind of just pushed him over to the side, and my mom and I kept going. And so he can talk to only our sellers now. We only allow him to speak to our sellers.
On Tuesday morning at 9.
Yeah.
He'll
Like,
be
here's your
great
weekly-
at price reductions.
Yeah.
right?
Oh no, we won't let him talk price reduction at all. He occasionally will be allowed to give feedback, but that even sometimes blows up in our face.
Okay.
And then my sister actually does all of our transaction coordinating. So my sister, from when I was a little kid, she's always been really good at bossing me around, and that's what she does now. And I now pay her a lot of money to boss me around. But it's great. She and my dad are very left brain organized, and my mom and I are kind of the let's sit back and we like to talk to people, and they call us the rainmakers, and then they call them the slop catchers, and that's kind of how we have it figured out. But what's great about being in a family is we can say things to each other in a manner that's still loving, but it's a lot harder than you can actually say to somebody else. My dad can tell me that I'm screwing up, which is weekly, and whether on a personal basis or a professional basis. And those lines cross every day. It's unbelievable. Like, yeah. And then as far as like time off, my mom and I do have a little bit of a thing. Like when we go to like a family function, like whether we have dinner, we're just so, I don't know, we're literally so married together with everything, like our pastimes and everything. We try to leave the phones like in a bowl at the door, which we're all, these things are the only reason we're all successful. They're allowing us to do 5 times the business most agents could do back in the past. But it's hard to not talk about business and work all the time when you're around them. But we really do our best. Like my dad and I go golfing once a week, and he tells me what I'm doing wrong there too. And so does Mark. But yeah, it's great. I love being in the family business because it's more love. Like we're all pulling for each other, and that's how our team has grown too. We've got 4 buyers agents that they're all like sisters to me. I love them. They're fantastic people. I would do anything for them. So they're great. They're great.
So, Tasha, they've figured out their roles, and I know that's one of the challenges in a team. You know, Jim Collins in the book Good to Great said, get them the right people on the bus, but get them in the right seat. Maybe you could share some thoughts about how you've done that inside of your team.
I think each agent that has a team does things a little bit differently, and I don't think that there's one size fits all for anything. Some people just have, directly buyer's agents or people assisting with listings, and they stay in that position. From the beginning, we've just said, listen, figure out what it is that you're passionate about, and I want to, me and my husband's on the team as well, we just do what we can, whether it be through masterminds or, having them shadow us, letting them, I guess, succeed to their fullest potential and not really holding them back. So if it is that they just want to primarily focus on working with buyers, then that's what we help them out with, and we set them up with lead generation and help them go in that direction. And if it's, the sellers that they want to work with, then we'll go with them to their listing appointments and, teach them how to reach out to their sphere and develop those relationships of trust so that they can get the listings. But, I think each team operates a little bit differently, but that's what has worked really well for us. Just kind of working together. I mean, we're not all family. My husband is the only one on my team that is part of my family, but we really do operate as a family. We, if my agents hit their goals, we go on a team trip together once a year to some place really, really nice, and typically an all-inclusive resort somewhere. But we also, we get together once a week. We do a big event, together once a month, working together through, charities and stuff as well. So, I mean, we're not all family, but we really do operate like a family.
So, Tonya, you do a massive amount of personal business. Where does most of it come from? What's your primary source, and how do you work that effectively?
So I have a unique model, I think, in that I represent a big builder. So about 55% of my business comes from new construction. The other 45% is an effort of working extremely hard not to become that new construction agent. So work in my sphere extremely hard. I'm very relationship based. So I do a lot of, involved at the high schools in our area in terms of, billboards, marketing, advertising there, even halftime relay races that I sponsor, and we give the kids, freshmen, sophomores against, seniors and juniors and stuff, fun stuff like that. And then client appreciation events. I do a large client appreciation party every year, and then events throughout the year in terms of, first day of fall, come by Dunkin' Donuts, I'll buy you a coffee kind of thing. So truly, the majority of my business comes from the builder that I represent, and then the rest of it is comes from my sphere. I do not spend a lot of resources, neither time nor financially, in terms of reaching out for new business. I do farm one little community that has a super high price point in our area, so but getting your foot in the door there is difficult. So I do farm that, but outside of that, I work really hard on my center of influence.
And if my numbers are right, 45% of her numbers still is putting her about 60 transactions a year outside of what she's doing for builder. So that's pretty meaningful, right? Can I ask a question to any of you? I mean, most of us in the country are facing low inventory markets for especially the first and second time home buyer market. As the market has started to slow down, as we have low inventories, as we have interest rates rising in this environment, what are you doing as those markets continue to start to slow down a little bit to make sure that you're continuing to grow your business throughout that process?
What I'm trying to do right now is actually reach out to all of those buyers and sellers that, well, not the sellers, but the buyers that were really getting market lag is what I called it. They were tired of showing houses and they're tired of doing all that. And now we've had, at least in West Michigan, we've had a little bit of an influx of inventory, about 800 more homes than we were for the last 4 years. And so some of the homes that they were wanting kind of sat on the market a little bit, and they're coming back into the market. So I'm reaching out to all of those people for the last year and a half that are still active trying to
that
buy.
were getting beat out by multiple offers, or because they were VA or FHA or something like that?
Well, that, or we were writing 10 to 20,000 over list and still not getting it because we weren't waiving inspections and things like that, or we were doing 5 days inspections. So we were solid buyers. We were 20% down. We were just still not getting them because people were, I don't know about you guys' markets, they were going crazy in ours for a little bit, and I feel like that craziness is kind of calmed, which is great. I think a stable market is healthy for everybody. So
you're basically reaching back out to them saying, hey, the market's changed a little, maybe we should take another shot at this.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else?
This is not specific, but what I did on my team is we don't talk about that. We don't talk about short inventory. In fact, you will be not on my team if you bring that up constantly at my one-on-ones. You come in and go, oh, it's so hard out there, and you won't be on my team. We look at that it doesn't make sense, but great, houses are selling quicker. Oh, the market's slowing, great, there'll be expired listings. And we totally avoid reality or maybe create our own. And we're looking forward to a slowdown, and we're looking forward to it not slowing down because we're gonna find an edge wherever it needs to be, whether it's get buyers in fast, waive everything, escalating offers, great, we'll win that. If market slows down, which should be fantastic because we love to call expired listings.
Isn't it true, though, when the market slows down, and if that's where we're heading, because I do believe we're heading to correction, there actually is a great opportunity for the full-time agent that's been nurturing those relationships and doing the thing they do to actually pick up more business, even in that slower market.
So, Vince, I think in a slower market, one of the best opportunities is the high-end expireds, the high end of any market, because a lot of agents avoid it. So I'd be curious, are any of you starting to turn your sights to that next level of price point that maybe is above what you typically do?
Yeah, so the market that I farm is truly a high-end market. It's kind of been captured by one agent and one brokerage for a while, and so just getting your foot in the door there is difficult. But I have found that, watching the market, even if you're on listing appointments and they decide not to list, staying in touch with those folks and letting them know that. And I think that's a value-added service in terms of not going on the listing appointment, they're not ready to list, and so I just have forgotten about you. So just intentionally reaching back out to them to let them know, hey, the inventory's gone down in this price point and in this school district, and now may be a good time for us to start thinking about getting your house prepared for the market, because I think it's coming in the next 30 to 60 days when you could have a product that's there's a buyer out there for. The other thing, and actually I was in your small group and you mentioned it earlier, but the other thing that I do is I have a list of homes that are kind of my pocket listings, and so I offer that to someone who's not quite ready to list, to just be a part of that pocket inventory for me. And then, because you just never know when that buyer come along, we have a group in our office who's constantly sharing buyer needs, and sometimes we just marry those two, before the product ever hits the market. It's a win-win for my seller because we get full asking price and inspections are pretty easy.
Well, stay in there on that farm, because there is the old saying, Vince, you've heard this, right? It's better to be the firstborn, the second wife, and the second or third agent on a high-end listing. So we have some great high-end luxury agents that broke into that market by picking off the expireds of those dominant farmers in those markets, and they did it when the cycle shifted, right? That's the great time to strike, so you're poised to do it. So I'm wondering, Vince, if there's one new opportunity that they're each ramping up to launch for end of 2018 and a big change for 2019, if they have something in particular in mind. Anyone?
Let me think. Give me a second.
And by the way, it could be
Or-
it could be marketing, it could be a new system, it could be an expansion to your team, it could be eliminating something you've been doing because it'll open more time and resources. So really, no rules, just something you have to change the game.
I got to change a lot of things in my life, but yes, Stevie.
This is not Dr. Phil.
Okay. So we're actually adding my brother to the team. Big shock, everybody. He's moving back from Manhattan, so he's selling out in Manhattan, and he's got to come sell $200,000 houses now. So I secretly love that a little bit. But we're really going to work on even more so our past client and sphere. We think we do a good job at it, and I mentioned that to you earlier, but we just keep realizing that, like, we look at it year over year, it's 80 to 85% of our business is our past clients. And so we right now we spend about 60% of our marketing budget on them, and we're going to ramp that up to even more. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're really going to hit them hard, because those are our people that love us. They're our raving fans, and you can't take care of them enough. Because if we're on the tip of their tongue every time they're talking about real estate, our business is going to go.
Tim and the rest of you, so is most of you, I mean, you said new construction, but most of you, the majority of your business is coming from your center of influence and your past clients. What do you guys, we talk about that, but what are you specifically doing? How often are you staying in touch with them? What are you specifically doing to retain and to nurture those relationships with those past clients?
So I have a lot of new construction as well, but the rest of my business 100% comes from past clients, sphere of influence. We do a lot. We make sure that we have all of our past clients' sphere as part of our Facebook page, so they really stay in front. We stay in front of them through Facebook. I do some video marketing and mailings. We do client appreciation parties. So I mean, we know that every 3 to 5 years, for the most part, it seems like with my clients, something's changing in their life and they're moving on to the next part of their life, and just staying in front of them, because there's so many agents that just say that are clients that say they forget who their agent is within the year after them purchasing. And so it's just something that easy, especially if you had a good experience with them, to stay in front of them and make sure that you are the person that they call when that next part of their life changes.
Yeah, I actually still send out birthday cards. So when you close with me, I have a keeping in touch form that you fill out. So once the closing's over, my admin, part of her job is to put all of that information into a program that spits that information out to me about 10 days prior, so I can reach out to them. The other thing it does is allow me, a year after closing, we put notes in the database system saying, they had a home warranty, they had a termite bond, whatever it is that they had. And so we send them a letter. Congratulations, it's been a year since you've, don't forget to renew that home warranty. Don't forget to, and then I reach out to them after, about 2 weeks after that letter goes out, to ask them if they need any help renewing those services, how they like their home, and then, of course, who do you know that may be moving within the next 6 months or so.
Like I mentioned, and probably a third of you heard me this morning, we do 4 parties a year. We buy their Christmas trees when they come. It's kind of a seasonal thing. But the funny thing is, nobody on the team actually still has a live Christmas tree. And then we do a movie night We buy flowers for them at a flower garden, and then we do some sort of back to school or pumpkin thing. So, we try to do it for like evenly spread apart, but now my mom used to do, and so this is why I was loving your thing earlier. We used to do the cheesiest newsletter. It was so bad, but it got sent to like 1,500 people, and we stopped doing it about 4 years ago because how angry my dad got at the direct mail guy. Another issue, dealing with family. But I literally got out of our meeting. I called my mom. I'm like, we're putting together that stupid little newsletter again, because there have been countless people like, oh, Donna, we miss your heartbeat. Like it was a heart, or Donna's heartbeat or something, and it was great. It was such an awesome thing, and it's just that extra touch. So I think we're going to make sure we do that in between each one of the party mailings too. So sorry about my voice, guys. I lost it a couple nights ago.
We don't want to ask what he was doing to lose his voice.
Not last night. It was a
Okay.
couple.
Did you have anything to add, Greg?
Just under half my business, 45% comes from past clients and Sphere. And this is going to shock you how much I do, but I do nothing. And it's, we absolutely do nothing. We don't thank them. We don't call
Don't take
them.
that as your one takeaway.
Yeah, we don't do anything, and that's a missed opportunity. One of the reasons I don't do anything is I only do 2 things a quarter, sometimes not even 2, and that just hasn't got to that point. And that's one of our objectives, probably 3rd quarter, 4th quarter of next year, because we understand that's a big miss of our business.
Honey, come and talk to me. Okay. But here's the thing we were discussing in the breakout session because of your conversations this morning about the disruption in the real estate industry. It is more critical than ever to maintain these client relationships. Client loyalty is down. Everyone's gunning for your people. What used to be okay, you're still okay because they love you, did a great job. You will lose them. You will lose them, and you will lose the referrals that come from them. But we were saying in the meeting, it's time to stand and fight. And what was that? Remember that movie, Gretchen, a long time ago, Networking? They said, open up the window and yell, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's now, right? But that can be turned around in a quarter easily, right? So that's a great opportunity.
One of the things I heard that Brooke said we put in your packet a sheet that was called Customer Service and Addressed by Millennials as Forbes Fortune a couple years ago. It really is to the heart of this. And the question raised in this article, and so you all have it to read, is basically, is the level of customer service getting worse? And this was not just real estate related. This was in all businesses. And it basically said because the millennial generation, because they're a now society, they have no patience, right? They want immediate gratification in everything they do. It's trickled up to all generations, and basically we are now as a society that wants instant gratification, right? And we want it now. And the article basically says that customer service is not getting worse, but the expectation of the service that you deliver is greater than it's ever been before, which really goes to the heart of this conversation. If we're not staying in touch with our clients on a regular basis and we don't have a meaningful daily or weekly routine to reach them, I think you're going to get left behind on the relationship side of that business. I guess, and going to that, I mean, do you guys have a schedule? Do you have a daily routine? How are you held accountable, or how do you hold your team accountable for those of you who have teams? And what is that daily schedule? And then Debbie, I'm going to maybe have you talk about your 5-5-5-5, which I think is a follow-up to that.
So that was a lot of questions in one.
It was. But
So do you have accountability systems on your team for the expectations you have of them that will make them successful? I heard you
Yes.
mention one-on-one meetings. Tell us about that.
Yes, we do. So my expectations have changed. I've been doing this a little bit, working in real estate, and had a team before they were really was a team model. And I think one thing that's changed, seeing the single agents doing an incredible amount of production, is our expectations used to be like, and I asked a bunch of team members, I asked like 10 people enrolled, they all came up with what's a solid number, and it's 20, they all said 22 transactions. Same kind of thing that I kind of used to think. Now all of a sudden I think what we're seeing across the board is like a healthy team is doing 50 transactions apiece, and then you got people doing 100. I'm like, what in the world? How that would change my team member's life if they're going from 28 transactions to 78, their incomes, their lifestyle, their potential. So we've shifted our thought. 50 is now the norm, and really 60, 70, 80 transactions per agent, and then backing that up, how are you going to accomplish that? What systems do we have to put in place? So then that feeds back into, here's the goal, here's kind of the minimum, not back here, but it's here. Here's where you really want to be to make the kind of income, if they want to make a couple $100,000 or $100,000, they got to sell some houses in Michigan. So backing that up, and then the one-on-ones, what are they doing production-wise? I'm tracking how many phone calls they're making a day. Most of that's automated. They have to come into the office. If they don't come into the office, the failure rate is
Drastic.
100%.
Yeah.
So tracking their daily activities and making sure that those produce results.
So we know you guys just do whatever you want, but you must have some systems. Tell us, what do you do to measure and track your success or where your business is coming from, expenses? Any suggestions?
Yeah, so we actually track everything. Like every sale is down. All right, where did this one come from? How was it tracked? And that's how we know all of our stuff from past clients. But yeah, we just hold each other. My mom and I hold each other extremely accountable. I know she and I both know exactly what we're doing because we're the heads of the team and we're not really worried about our own accountability. But we do hold the team members very accountable. I've got 2 girls that I talk to each day. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I've got 2 team members that I talk to every day, and then my mom has 2 team members. I don't want to be sexist. I'm not a sexist person. I've got, and then she's got 2 as well, and it's more like just, hey, what are your plans for the day? How many points of contact are you going to make? You were talking about that. And yeah, it's that. Most of my business nowadays from just being accountable is going to those social clubs. My wife hates it because she thinks that I'm just screwing around all day, but it's fun. I mean, this business is a riot, guys. Like, we get to go. I shoot at a gun club and sold 15 houses from that in a couple of years, for crying out loud. So it's great.
Pays for some new guns.
I know. I get a couple of shotguns. It's great. Go ahead.
So accountability, well, I guess I might like to ask a different question. Do you supply all the business for your team, their leads, or do you expect them to go hunt for themselves as well?
I would say it's kind of on a per agent basis. A lot of my team is seasoned agents that are doing the 50 plus transactions, and they don't want lead generation, and they don't really want my assistance. And I mean, yes, do I hold them accountable? Yeah, but only to, a certain level, because they're doing it on their own. And I don't want to be, I tell them, this is your, yes, you're on my team, but this is your business. Run it like a business. So if I'm micromanaging that, then it's not them running their business. I just need to step back and make sure that I have the systems in place for them to run it and help them out. Now, some of my newer agents, I know, like if they don't have a sphere from around here, or even if they do, they need those buyers that are the right now buyers that are looking. And so we, have lots of assistance through lead generation, through Facebook marketing, open houses for new construction and stuff to help them out with that and help them hit their goals. So it really is a, per agent thing.
So Tonya, you have some great administrative talent. That is probably one of the number one places where people struggle in making that good hire. Any tips you have for finding them, managing them, retaining them?
So actually I have a really good retention rate with them. So, but I did just recently, I'm not a great hirer. I'm probably, like most of successful agents, I'd rather do it myself kind of thing. So I'm not a great delegator. But what I do know is what I don't do well, and that's what I try to hire. So I'm not in the details. I actually love being with buyers and sellers, and so I would rather them be behind the desk crunching the numbers, telling me if I'm hitting my goals. I also have a business plan. I also have goals that I break down. I basically know where I want to be at the end of the year, and I back all into that, using what my average sales price is, how many listings do I need to go on, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I break that down by month, obviously. So, and they're tracking, and they don't mind telling me that I'm not getting it done. So, but I just hire what I don't do well, I guess.
Are you a good boss?
You think? So my broker says yes.
Very generous boss.
I think so. I mean, we have a fun little culture. It's nothing like this. We don't have big offices and all that kind of stuff. We work in cubicles, and but yeah, I think we have fun. I am very family oriented. It's probably the one thing I don't do well is family work balance, because I think I sleep with my phone right by my bed. But at any rate, so I value their family time as well. So I am very conscientious of their time, and I try to, they come in at a certain time, they leave at a certain time. If they need to take time off to be with their family, I'm, open, very flexible. So.
Deb, because I want to know what these guys, what's the one or two things that they're really focused on that they really do consistently on a daily basis that help them grow their business. But before they do that, you've talked about in the past your 5-5-5-5 system of a weekly basis or a daily basis. Can you talk about that and share that with everyone? Because it's a very simple, but effective way to prospect.
Simple, down and dirty, quick. We talked about it in the class this morning. I would love it as a coach if I could get all of our clients to make 20, 30, 40, 50 contacts a day. That would be amazing. The reality is you won't. Most won't. And as I travel around the country, I find the average agent makes 2 or 3 purposeful contacts a week. I don't mean the peripheral calls, but the hunting for business. So what we encourage our clients to do and hold them very accountable to, we call it the 5-5-5-5. 5 eye-to-eye or ear-to-ear connections a day. With a conversation about real estate with a decision-making adult. Doesn't have to be that they say yes, certainly does not have to be a stranger. So if I saw Gretchen at Starbucks and she's my past client and she says, how's the market? And by the way, I shared a script in the database, Alan Dalton's script. Thank you for asking. It's actually a very opportunistic market. There are outstanding opportunities for buyers, great opportunities for sellers. I'm curious, why do you ask? Is there some opportunity you're interested in? Boom, there's one of my contacts. Right? So it doesn't have to be a stranger. It doesn't have to be a cold call, but it has to be 5 conversations. 5 emails. E-blast doesn't count. E-blast is fine, but these are 5 purposeful emails to hunt business, 5 texts, and then 5 handwritten notes. One of my clients is Ernie Carswell. He just sold the Brady Bunch house. Gretchen and I were talking about Ernie. Katy Perry, Fergie, those are his clients. Ernie doesn't cold call. Ernie doesn't door knock, but Ernie is very good at his 5, 5, 5, and 5. And the handwritten notes are, I was strategizing a few years ago when Fergie had her last baby. He wanted to know what he should buy for a baby gift. So I come out of, my office. I said to my daughter, aren't you impressed? I'm choosing Fergie's baby gift. She goes, I'm not, because you don't know her. I'm like, okay, thank you. But see, it's like, put me in my place. But if you look at the math of that, though, it's quite amazing. Most of you work at least 285 days a year. So you multiply that times 285, it's 5,700 connections in a year. Just think about that. If you just did that one thing from this event, if you made 5,700 high-quality connections, it takes about an hour to an hour and a half a day. That's it. And it would change their world.
Yep. The handwritten notes, do you use social media as a vehicle to say someone's had a birthday, someone's had a special event, someone took a vacation, someone got engaged?
Yes, but the handwritten notes are still handwritten.
Okay, they're still
Those
handwritten.
could be birthday cards. Right? It could be a sympathy card if you know something happened tragic in their life. It could just be, hey, it was so great to talk to you on the phone. Just a pleasure to reconnect. Nice to meet you at open house. Just simple. Some go a little bit further and they have these really beautiful cards and they're kind of known for that. But just a simple note. How many personal notes do you get in the mail a day? A week? a month, right? If you think about it. So yeah, all of the other is great and important, but these are the real direct connections.
Perfect. Maybe, because we're getting close here to time, could each one of you say what is the one or two things that you're really focused on as you head into 2019, or as you're going to finish this year strong within your business to make sure you continue to grow your business?
Yeah, I'm really going to work on organizing my CRM and my client follow-up better. But I also, and I've been saying that in my mastermind group for the last 6 months, which I'm horrible at that too.
Stevie's going to do it this
But I'm pulling my wife in. She's doing a lot of those handwritten notes now, and she went and got them really cute designed, and she's been doing it for about 3 months, and all the past clients love them. It's unbelievable. We drop a $5, $10 Starbucks card in there, just a quick note. They know it's not from me because my handwriting's not legible. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's a really good just reach out and touch that past client. That they're getting stuff from us all the time. But
so that's a regular habit that you're doing.
Yes. That's she's sending out between 20 and 25 a week.
Okay.
Now.
Thank you. Greg, what's the one or two things you're really focused on to make sure you're continuing to grow your business?
I'm focused on agent development, and particularly the onboarding process of agents. I'm creating a system of which they can plug in, get past training that's accessible and available and relevant, because we don't have always the best onboarding process. We invite people on and we're like, all right, go get them because I'm kind of busy, I shut my door and put a sign on it that says, do not knock on this door, that type of stuff. So we're the onboarding process, and then, which has been a real weakness of mine, I'm the hiring and recruiting, because to me, hiring and recruiting creates more minutes and problems, and I really have a negative feedback there. So we're really focusing on hiring, recruiting, and retention.
Tasha.
September for us has always been the time where we really look at marketing from the past year and see what has worked and what has not worked. For every transaction as well, I make sure that the agents tell admin, where did that lead come from? Was it, personal, number one, or was it from the company? But then break it down from there. And then we put everything into a graph to see where all of our clients, the transactions and stuff came from. At that point, I can assess the situation and see, okay, we've been spending way too much money in one area. We can pull back and put it into, maybe a different form of lead generation or Facebook advertising or client appreciation parties or whatever that might end up being. But I think it probably comes from Summit Conference is always in September. That's really when I always would kind of reevaluate where things were. Plus, you can't wait until December to figure out your strategy for 2019. So it just seems to be a really good time for us to really look at the marketing. And then I'm working on my CRM as well. I've had the same one for 17 years now, and just going through and figuring out who I really need to dump from the system and really getting through and re-segmenting what I do have.
So I guess I'm at a unique place in that I probably am productivity-wise kind of maxed out per person, for an individual. So I'm trying to figure out how I can make money, work smarter, not harder. And so one of those is raising my price points. But the other is I'm trying to get out to my sphere that I can help. We're a little bedroom community of Atlanta. And so at my age, my friends' kids are starting to, get through college and buy houses, but they're not buying them where we are. So trying to communicate to them that while I don't work the Atlanta market, I can refer them, and that still benefits me. People don't understand that, I can benefit financially from a transaction that takes place somewhere else that I'm not even involved in. So just getting that word out to my clients is kind of and then I think I've missed the ball on the new construction. A lot of those buyers come from other agents, but I'm pretty sure, but then I see the relistings and they're not with those same agents. So I'm like, why didn't I take advantage of that? I know that house better than anybody. So so those are two areas that I'm kind of focused on for 2019.
I was going to say, I'd like to open this up to the audience for the last 10 minutes. Gretchen.
So let's say that you are, we're talking about. So I'm trying to figure out, I have a big gap in mind. So let's say you're extremely excelling at the sphere. You've got all these business, all these referrals. Your past clients, your friends, your girlfriends want to refer you things. And then you take it and you hand it to someone who's not you. How does that go? How is the extensibility of you? And I know there's a whole big piece about my team and pictures and all, but I still can't
Vince, can I answer that? Because
Yeah.
about 60% of who we coach are teams. And Gretchen, I think one of the pieces...
Did I say yes?
Yeah. That's the ID.
That's why we get along. We're both really bossy.
One of the things is how you explain it. So yes, like you said, but it's also like the titles. A great Berkshire Hathaway agent, Lori Bartron in Santa Barbara, she calls her team agents her team partners. She says it's my team partner. She doesn't say buyer agent or this or that. She has a title for them, and then she showcases their talents. But then also, I think, training your people, right? And knowing and using her as an example, she knows which will do best with the lower end first time buyers, which will do best with the higher end people. So she positions them to win by putting them, just like with my coaches. I know Victor is an outstanding team and leadership coach, so I would not give him a brand new agent to coach, right? So I think in looking at that with the teams, that's been what's very successful. What about you, Greg?
So I can answer that from a viewpoint somebody's not good at stuff. That in particular, giving up anything. I just soon do it. If you're not doing it fast enough, give it to me, I will get it done, which is not very productive. So what I did is I had to get myself to a point where I was so busy, and it was, I think 2 years ago, I had a buyer come to the office. I mean, literally, we had one transaction coordinator, we had 76 pendings. It was my wife. She's screaming at me, I'm like, let's just get the work done. Like, I'm trying to fire her, she's trying to quit, and I go down to show, I go down to show this friend of mine houses, and he gets in the car. I'm like, here's the ones we're gonna look at. He goes, well, those are the ones I didn't want to look at. I go, hey, listen, I don't have a lot of time here. We're gonna have to take a look at these ones. He goes, well, I didn't want to see those ones. I go, well, that's all I set up. We're gonna look at these ones, and then we'll know why you didn't like them at least. So I ran. This is a true story. So I ran him through the houses. I get back and I go, what'd you think? He goes, I didn't like them. I go, exactly. And then my guy, buyer's agent, whatever you call him, he comes by. I go, hey, Chris, talk to this guy. I just showed him the wrong houses. And Chris just sits down and he goes, oh, what happened here? So he goes through the presentation. He goes, yeah, I didn't know any of that. I don't even know how to buy a house. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I forgot to tell you that. And then he gets them on the right houses, shows them more houses. Then the guy calls me. He goes, hey, I think I'm going in a different direction. I'm like, what the? Are you going in what direction? Chris has been working hard for you. Well, he's not really showing me you're not really seeing what I like. I go, well, your price point sucks, and you have no money, and you're not good at making decisions. And so, but that, and
This is client retention 101. What not to do.
But it's true. So I had to, get myself so time blocked and busy, of which I couldn't. Because still, if I got a time and somebody comes in my schedule and it's not blocked, I couldn't be tempted. And also, I had to create systems. My phone doesn't ring anymore. I'm not really sure why, but I got my admins to work my phone so it doesn't ring to me, because if I answer it, I get, oh yeah, I'll be right over. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't be right over. I got a soccer game. I got this to go on. So I got my phones ringing and systems in place, to the point where this happens frequently. I'll go downstairs. We're closing rooms downstairs from my office, and I'll be like, Bob, what the hell are you doing here? And he's coming out of the closing room. I'm like, oh my God, Bob. And then one of my agents come out behind him. I'm like, oh, jeez. I didn't even know he bought a house. I'm thinking he's bought a house with somebody else. I'm super pissed off, and I'm like mad. And I'm like, oh, I'm a hug. Oh, sorry, Bob. I didn't like you again. But I had to do that. I could not be trusted with that. I could not be trusted to take that phone call. And still to this day, the agents will answer the phone. If it's a listing appointment, they'll send it to the listing person. I'll still go on those if I have to. But if it's a buy side, I will never get a chance. My agents are so greedy, and they will take that from me because I could not fix it myself.
Clearly you weren't doing a very good job.
Oh, it was too. That was a that was a low point in my life. That wasn't my usual customer service. Is a little higher than that.
Okay,
His point is,
I honestly think I got a great.
refer somebody. How do you hand that off to an agent?
All right, so not that way. I think I love you, Craig. I think a lot of it is how you present it to the client on that initial consultation. So yes, the partner, or a team member of mine. A partner is a very strong word because you do that, but then you say, I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity. This is somebody that I trust, and I will be there in every email communication. I will be there in a lot of the texting, and they're going to respond to me. I'm still your agent, but if you see a house that comes onto the market that you need to see tonight, and I have a prior engagement, do you want to miss that opportunity, or because I already have showings, or I already have a listing appointment? No. So it's how you hand it off to that client, and that initial consultation is how
I think what you just said is that you're involved.
Correct. You're like, I am always in this mix.
That's the key, Gretchen, I think, to this whole thing is, one is you set the correct expectation. I'm going to hand it off to somebody that specializes in this price point, but you're basically giving them credibility. But the second part is, that's the part that my recommendation always is that if you need me, I'm going to be involved in that process. I'm going to be communicating throughout this process. They have a comfort level now that they're getting two people for the price of one in that process. We had a couple more questions. Can we walk?
I'm just curious, Tasha, you said you did some lead generation and passed off leads. What company do you use to provide those leads?
Everything is filtered through Boomtown. So we do a pay-per-click through Boomtown.
Did Boomtown hear that out there? That's one of our sponsors.
You're welcome. And then a lot of it is through Zillow, but it just automatically gets filtered through Boomtown, and they've got the Shark Tank that it goes out to all of the agents, and whoever claims it first ends up with the lead.
Question right here.
Do any of you hire a coach, and who is it, and how long have you been coaching, and how do you like it?
Do any of you have a coach?
Yes, I have a coach, and I work at the same coaching. I coach other agents, so I've had a coach for about 9 years.
Who's your coach?
It's called Real Estate Business School, Real Estate Business School, Lars Hedenborg.
Got it. We'll have other panels. Most of them on that will have coaches, so we'll ask that question for you, okay? Thank you, guys.